All right. What up, world? It's your main man over Mustang, and you're locked into Aura-Genz, your ultimate underground music sanctuary. Today, we're diving headfirst into the heart of music, culture, and creativity. With a guest who's not just dropping knowledge, but also shining a spotlight on their own work in a diverse array of underground artists, spanning everything from rock to hip hop and beyond. Get ready to groove with us as we celebrate underground dreamers, raw essence of music, and the untapped talent of the underground scene. So buckle up, get ready to ride the wave, and brace yourself for a sonic journey like no other. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Clint Kroeger, the lead singer and main songwriter in Flatwoods.
Shout
We
out,
hail from the countryside of St. Paul, Missouri.
shout out to you. I see you've been playing for some time.
Yes, sir. I started playing drums when I was like 11 or 12 or whatever, and my brothers had some like pop punk bands and stuff. So that was kind of how I figured it all
Shout,
out.
shout out to y'all. And how this journey all started for you.
Pretty much right there. My mom, her dad always said, I guess she, always wished he would have played an instrument. And I think she felt the same way. So she made sure me and my brother at least had the option to get something when we were like around 11 or 12. And he got a guitar. He's a couple years older than me, my older brother Danny. And then I got the drums, which, he already had the bass player. So, yeah, but then it just pretty much went from there. Been in bands now for about close to 20 years on and off there. Had this one going since about 2012 in various lineups and stuff.
Okay. And you said you was part of previous bands,
Um, oh yeah,
or
we've
is
had a bunch of different bands. Patty Bix and the Wailing Rileys. Igwe was another one that was like, these are all kind of more rock and roll punk stuff. Flatwoods is kind of my only alt country Americana
no?
indie stuff like that. But yeah, bunch of different punk bands. Rusty Sides was another one. The Drawback, but yeah, The Hero Dies. That's going
Okay.
way back, but yeah.
So you had some experience
Yes,
partnering
sir.
with uh other artists to form bands. And have you had a solo career?
Flatwoods is the closest. I guess that would be a solo. I have kind of different people that play on different stuff, but for the most part, it's kind of my breadbasket or whatever.
Okay. And so forming Flatwoods, I was also curious, what inspired the name Flatwoods?
That is actually where um, where I grew up out in St. Paul. I lived off of Highway Y, and Highway Y becomes Flatwoods Road. And my old bass player, he was driving out that way one time, and he suggested it. So it just kind of felt good. Um, and then you got the Flatwoods, West Virginia, which I didn't realize I was ripping off. But yes, they got the Flatwoods Monster and all that stuff. But yeah, it was pretty much just a buddy's suggestion. Real close street name.
Okay. And it's four members, correct?
There is me, myself, Paul Whitty, Joseph Baldetti. Um, I guess that's really the only three main core members at the moment. We have a couple other guys that come and go, or about three or four, like Dahi Malia from Jig Jam has been playing some banjo and some of the stuff, but yeah, keeping it pretty, you know, uh, close to the chest or whatever. I've been pretty much doing everything myself lately.
I respect that. Is there any difference between like your key members that's like, locked in compared to like the fill-ins?
Um, you mean just kind of in the way we like play together and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was seeing like, how's the structure for like is there any difference between the key members?
Um,
Uh
I would say Paul pretty much goes with anything the way, and he's just a really good chameleon. And and Joe, I would say Baldetti, who plays mainly drums. He's kind of more of a structured kind of producer aspect, almost like more of like a almost like a hip hop kind of approach. which you can kind of see that sound a little bit, I think, of some of our recordings, because he's kind of helps quite a bit with the engineering and the producing and stuff. But yeah, they're everybody I play with is great. I mean, they just kind of, you know, they'll always,
Yeah.
you know, help with the structure and figure out what I can't fine tune. And then, yeah, we feel it pretty well. I guess when the drums are in there, you know, he's the time master, but yeah, it's a good, you know, healthy balance, I think, from everybody about the way we structure everything and kind of flow together.
Okay. So for the key members, there's the lead singer, a guitarist, and a drummer.
Yes, at the moment, I'd say it's only three permanent members at the moment.
And for the fill-ins, there was the what was the word?
Dahi Malia,
Mm-hmm.
he's a banjo player, great guitar
Oh,
player, plays a bunch of stuff, but yeah.
yeah,
And
and the
it's,
second one,
oh, I'm sorry, Paul Whitty.
Paul. And what's his role?
He does guitar, he does bass, he writes, he does a little bit of keyboard. He's done trumpet on one. He's kind of just a jack of all trades. He'll do some background vocals and stuff too sometimes. Yeah, he's great.
So, so the difference between the fill-in and the key members are locked in, and the fill-in members they doing like temporary, or are you trying them out before you take them on
Um,
full time?
Honestly, it's just kind of the way I've been going through my stuff. It's like I'll have some old recordings that maybe Paul played on, or something newer, maybe like Joe Baldetti played on. But pretty much it's the only if I were to book a show, I'd be the only one I could guarantee to be there. I guess I should say it like that. So um,
Okay.
I'd say I'm probably the only permanent member at the moment. Those guys,
Oh,
kind of going a little more just solo.
okay. Okay. I respect that. Okay.
Nothing against those
And
guys. They're all fantastic. It's just the older you get, the harder it is to just lock people in. Everybody's got their own thing. Like those guys all have another band they're in called the Delicate Pelicans, who are
mhm,
fantastic. But when I don't have kind of stuff on the plate for them, or um, like song wise, or like shows booked, they're pretty much kind of it's kind of just guy. I'm going to use not I
mhm.
would say hired guns, but out of the buddies that I have, whoever could fill in is probably going to be who plays on it.
And I respect that. And I do agree with you, especially the older you get, especially people that have family and their own.
Exactly. People start having they got families, full
Yeah.
time jobs, all that, which I totally get. But it's like
Mhm.
you can't count on anybody more than yourself. So kind of trying to lean into that.
So
That way.
this is a unique, or correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like it's a very unique. It sounds like almost like a solo band, but I don't want to say actress, but uh,
Just no revolving.
yeah.
You could say actors. I mean, if it's life's a play
Mm,
in some manner or not. Whether we're being as genuine as we want to be, I feel like sometimes. But
mm,
no, they're all because I'm like one we're about to put out, Back to the Break Line. That was like from I think we recorded that probably before COVID maybe, or like during COVID or something like that. And that was like me. I was doing the drums then. Paul was doing the bass and the guitar, and we were just in the studio all the time. So it's like just depending on kind of and then I just have all this music I'm sitting on. Some of it I'm releasing. Some of the stuff has been new too. Like Joe Nider, he's not in the band any longer, but he played on our last EP. He's a great guitar player. Yeah, and there's So and any of these guys, it's
mm.
really like the door's never closed. So when if they're available, like I said, I got a recording
Okay.
or something I can't do myself. I'll
So going back to what you were saying earlier when you was like saying like this is the closest to me being like a solo. This is what you meant by it.
yeah, pretty
No.
much, yeah. Which is kind of a recent thing. I've really been trying for a long time to keep it like the way I market myself to be like get booked as a full band and all that stuff. And now I'm just like maybe I should have listened to my mom. She was like, "You're good enough," but it's
Hmm.
hard to believe your mom sometimes. And I don't
And
think I probably maybe I was, but you gotta believe it yourself. So I think I'm good enough to at least in some fashion. Obviously, there's a time when a full band calls for. I mean, that you can see that with our songs and stuff too. Some of them are maybe you have one like the last one, East Dakota, or a more recent one we put out. It's just acoustic guitar, my vocal, and the banjo. most part from Dahi. Um, so I'm like, yeah, and I'm probably gonna lean more into more releases like that as opposed to a full band. But the more rock and roll it is, the more you got to have all the you know
I
nice
respect
bass
that.
line, the drums going, the little electric guitar, and all that stuff.
I respect that. And it's always good to hear, different ways to go about it. I think your story also was shining a light to anybody that's interested to join a band or, cares how to form a band. So, I think you
Yeah,
do get
heck yeah, man. I
interesting
mean,
perspective,
more you can
from
do, the
it.
better, right? I feel
Hmm.
like that doesn't mean you should. I mean, the idea is like the band thing is the coolest thing. Like you see, like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, or these bands that were together forever, or the Rolling Stones. It's like that's the dream, but it's really hard to get everything right with that. To line up at the same time, and yeah.
And what is the challenging part of like managing almost
Um,
like a one man band, but, you know, with help here and there?
well, what do you mean by the managing, or just how I manage?
Well, managing a band that not able to be there like full time. It sounded like what you were saying. Correct me if I'm wrong,
Well,
but you're
it's yeah, they pretty
you're
much
you're
manage
the sole
me.
responsible. You're the sole responsible. Uh,
Yeah, no, for sure, right. So,
mm,
and then it's you get. I guess the one if I have any gripe with my guys that play with me sometimes or don't, it's like they're too good to where in the past I'll have somebody play on something where I know it's like they're probably not going to be available live, and you get far enough down the road, a hired gun's going to be easier to find or whatever to fill in here and there or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I get attached to somebody playing on something, and then I can't get them in the band full time, so I'm like, shit, and it's like so yeah, that's why I've just kind of moved away from. Because in terms of managing a band, I mean, I don't know if I'm the greatest person to talk to. I guess I've been the front man for kind of a long time. I mean, back in the day, we had a whole nother lineup. I had a friend of mine, Emily Struckman, and she was kind of like if you listen to some of our really early stuff, the co-front person or whatever. But I mean, we all just like to play together.
mm,
We all respected each other, I think, enough. I think that's really all it takes. And then, I was really slow with all the social media stuff, and I've been getting better at content and all that stuff. But yeah, that was a big problem, I think, for us for a long time. Just getting out there more when I had a full lineup that was dedicated to do it. But you live, you learn, right?
no, I agree. Okay, and last question on your bandmates. What's some of the? Well, I did say that was my question. There's a couple parts to this, but one part we can start off with. What's some of the biggest strength that your bandmates provide to better the experience of Flatwood?
Um, I said what Paul brings to the table is man, just like I kind of said earlier, he's a jack of all trades. He's if you got like two lines you can't finish, maybe somewhere like, oh man, we got you know most of the first verse, just blah blah blah. But it's like I can't, we need this chunk here, or if it's instrumentally, any aspect of songwriting or musically, and if he can't do it himself musically, he knows what you should do, and either you can get a synth and do it with that or something maybe, or shit. I mean, like he played trumpet in seventh grade, had never really played again. We were recording the song For Your Valentine. He plays all the trumpet on it. He's got the third, the fifth, the seventh going. He's got all these layers going. It took him a minute. He was rusty, but God, he's just impressive, Paul, and his
Mm,
work ethic is, yeah, he'll always put in the time. He's his business, and yeah, good dude, just a good dude. But Joe, then the drummer, he's who plays a little guitar as well. He's just he just brings a lot of energy. I mean, on top of being a good drummer, he's kind of I'd say like the chi keeper of everything, not just the timekeeper, but like the good vibes. Um,
mm,
and he's great in with working with Logic. Um, and I work with Pro Tools, but we kind of mix and match because he prefers Logic. But he's just good in the studio too. He's a good engineer. He's a good producer. Um, yeah. So and he does he has some solo recordings coming out himself. I know pretty soon here. But yeah, those two guys are great to play with in general, and yeah.
shout out
And then
to
Dahi, the dude that plays sometimes, he's in a band called Jig Jam, which they got a good audience. You might have heard those guys. They're like they're Irish bluegrass, newgrass, but they're from Ireland. But yeah, they're awesome. They're touring around right now. Um, yeah.
That's
So
what's
yeah.
up. Shout out to them. Okay. And let me say, uh, and what is your uh role and skill set within the band? Do you do the songwriting,
Primary
marketing, and everything?
songwriter, um, like main rhythm guitar player. I've done a little bit of electric here or there, but I'm mostly more the finger picking on the acoustic and stuff, or just kind of rhythm in general. And then I played drums on some of the recordings. It's about half and half with the drums. Sometimes I'll play the drums, sometimes Paul Daddy will. But because that's kind of my background, I came up as a drummer, um, and and I've done a little bit of bass on some of the recordings as well. But if you saw me playing live, most likely I'd just be playing acoustic guitar and maybe a little bit of harmonica here or there. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I guess main songwriter and rhythm guitar player would be the
No.
primary roles.
And I'm guessing you also tackle like marketing and all that.
Yes, yeah, I've been heading that up for like the last year or something with all the TikToks and all that stuff.
So within managing a band, what is your biggest strength, and what do you find that something that you need to work on?
Consistency, which is a general horrible problem to have, but just really on everything. Consistency, um, expand just our social media's gotten better, but we need to be running like conversion Facebook ad campaigns, linking them to our Spotify and stuff. There's a lot of things we can be doing to getting like getting saves instead of streams. Streams are cool, but it does seem like the real fans are going to be saving it. So our numbers are a little low on that, and yeah, just and then getting shows. I mean, I have a little bit of a St. Louis following, which would be like our home base. Um, but yeah, we don't got a lot booked right now, so I'm trying to get out there more, play some more shows.
And another thing I was curious to the way how your band is structured for the songs that rely on your full band experience. Have it ever came a time when you go to perform those songs in your bandmates wasn't there, or wasn't able to uh pull up for that
Oh
particular
yeah.
song? How you go
Um,
about that?
do you mean like more like they couldn't make the show, or that they like
Yeah.
played? Oh, yo, yeah. Well, so I did that. I opened up for Jig Jam at Off Broadway, which is a local venue in St. Louis here. I guess when was that? Maybe January 13th, I think. And that was pretty much the same case then. I had rehearsed with a band, but it was just pretty much the way the show was set up is like it needed to be more acoustic stripped down. And they didn't really want to play without the drummer, which I respected that. So I just played. I did. I think I only played about 6 songs. I did 4 just totally by myself with the acoustic guitar, and then Dahi Malia because he's in Jig Jam, so he came up and did 2 at the end with me. One we wrote together, kind of knew pretty well, and the other one he's did it a little bit on the fly, but he's great. So yeah, so it wasn't totally by myself, but it was pretty for the most part by myself, and yeah, that went pretty well. So that's kind of why I'm more starting to lean towards doing that more. You know.
Okay. Okay. I just had a question. Well, I won't come back to that question when I remember it, but
Oh, you're good, man.
I'm curious, in your point of view, what does Flatwood represent?
What's Flatwoods represent? Um, well, I was thinking about that kind of earlier. Um, I would call it like just I don't know. We've been playing in barns for a long time. We used to kind of have our own little build your own festivals, these Benjamin Freedom festivals. But yeah, it could like barn indie. Like
Mm.
I'm a dude who has a pretty nice life. I'm not I'm not well off. I'm probably in the poverty line, but I feel like I make it look good, or whatever, But
Mm-hmm.
so I sing, for I guess the natural human, heartbreak, all that stuff, drug problems, alcoholism. I'm a bartender, so that doesn't really help with alcoholism. I guess not from me being an alcoholic, but others. But hopefully they're not coming to the bar if they are an alcoholic. Anyways, yeah. Um,
Are you saying that since Flatwood is relatable to like the everyday man, 9 to 5
yeah, there you go. The everyman.
living
Yeah,
experience?
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay, I can see that in
Um,
your music.
we, yeah, there might be. I don't know if we. I think our sound has some range. Lyrically, I'm not sure how far I really get out there with the lyrics, but they're not too like you know metaphoric or not metaphoric, psychedelic or whatever that But yeah, they're pretty straightforward, kind of just folk singer songwriter stuff. But I think we put some nice layers on top of that sometimes, and it's some good party music sometimes, some sad bastard stuff as well, which I think
Mm-hmm.
there's always a time and a place for both.
Mm-hmm. No, I respect that. And when it comes to the inspiration, and I'm guessing every song that's been released under Flatwoods, you've been the main writer.
Yes,
Okay.
there's
So when it
a
came,
couple exceptions to that, but yeah, I think I
okay,
have a co-write on it on everything
okay.
at least.
So behind the songs that have been inspired, what was the push behind, the creative writing? Do you take your real life experience, or is there a bit of fantasy within the lyrics?
Um, there's a little bit of indulgences, I think, but for the most part, almost everything is at least based on something that happened to me or that somebody I knew pretty closely. Or we got like this song called "Lonely Dell," and that's about like John D. Lee, who was like in the Mormon. He was right under Brigham Young, so that's kind of like a historical kind of song. But for the most part, they're just kind of either heartbreak or um, you know, wrote one for my dad's 70th. That one's not out yet. It's called No Guts, No Glory. But dedications or heartbreaks, well, they're all really almost dedicated to somebody. Probably, usually it's
Mm-hmm.
a woman, but
Mm-hmm.
she's real in some capacity. Mostly real, I'd like to think it, anyways. But yeah, there's always something, some lady or you know, friend or something inspiring it that I know, or maybe something they said that sparked it, or And me and my buddy Brian Friedoff wrote one together called "88 Lincoln." It's on our EP Smoke Break, but that one was about his mom. She took a trip to Vegas and unfortunately passed away. But and then I guess my newest single too, I should mention, is about my buddy Andrew L, who passed away like 10 or 12, long time ago, 10, 12 years ago or something. But it's like a little ode to him. But yeah, so we got
Mm-hmm.
we range out of the heartbreak a little bit. But yeah, mostly just kind of heartbreak. You know.
First, I would like to say, sorry for your loss, and
Oh
shout
no,
out
it's
to your
all good.
dad.
I appreciate that though. He was
Yeah,
it was like a freak thing. He fell, hit his head, and ended up not making it. I guess I don't need to
yeah,
get the gruesome details, but yeah, he was a good dude. This
yeah.
song
Just like
really
you
doesn't
said,
do
like
him
the everyday
justice, but
man. Yeah, like you said, like the everyday man, experience it. If you live long enough, you're bound to lose a loved one. Um,
absolutely, yeah.
uh,
Unfortunately, that's always the case.
and I wonder, do you ever have to battle with maintaining being vulnerable, between being vulnerable or and between sharing too much, um, amongst your
Um,
listeners?
I think probably everybody feels like that when they write to some degree. Probably the more you can share without it like compromising the kind of integrity of the hook or whatever you want to call it, the meat of the song is always best. Um, I think it's also kind of the writer's prerogative sometimes. At least I know it's my own, to kind of change the narrative to where maybe it's something as simple as like, oh, in the song it seems like, well, who knows what happens, but it's it's ended miserably or it's a complete train wreck or something, which I don't think I shy away from too much, but because everybody plays the fool or whatever, like that one great song says. Always makes you feel better when somebody else is got a bucket of slime dumped on them too, or whatever it is.
Okay. And bring this back to our earlier conversation. You say you started off as a drummer.
Yes, sir.
Uh, do you still play the drums, or have you walked away from it? What was the turning point for you to expand to the other instruments?
Excuse me. Well, yeah, I do. I play on some of the recordings, some of the newer stuff. A lot of the new stuff's been Bald Eddie, but I like the one that's about to come out, back to the break line, I play on. And yeah, I mean, so I just still do play. It was pretty much just being in bands. I like the drums, and I guess I kind of chose the drums. Like I said, my mom kind of was like, "Hey, I'll buy you guys, guitar, bass, or drums, or whatever." And then it was kind of by default because my older brother. But as soon as I start, my cousin Scott and my other cousin Joe were both played and were really huge Rush fans. They were both pretty good in their own right. Scott was really good; he could just shred some metal. But so that was kind of big on us because they were always around hanging out with my dad. They were his nephews or whatever. So we had that. I remember Scott just sitting there with my brother, and they'd be listening to something on the radio, like Sugar Cult song or something on the radio, and my brother didn't even have to go get tabs. Scott would just sit there and figure it out and then show my brother how to play it on acoustic guitar. So I always knew I think I wanted to play guitar too, for sure. Just to help with the songwriting craft. And then, bass is now when I go back to drums, or I guess maybe play bass a little bit too, or whatever, it's kind of by default. If I'm like, oh, fuck, either I can't get somebody else or they can't do it quick enough because I'm impatient or something, like that. But yeah. So I think I'll hopefully always play the drums as well, at least just recreationally.
I respect.
Yeah.
And what was the turning point for you to jump to another instrument? Do you feel like you
Um,
lost interest in drumming, or was it something else?
no, it was just I was like, I would get frustrated. We were really young. I mean, I'm talking probably 14 or 15 or something. But I would get frustrated with, my brother was, I don't know, like 16, 17 at this point. And I didn't think, I would be like, they're not taking it seriously enough, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't think I had enough, I guess, to get more control, I guess, really, in terms of which down the road, if you go and it's the right band, you don't need to be playing any instrument per se to have, the adequate amount of influence you need in terms of to make the best song it can be, or do justice to the collaboration. But like, yeah, at that time I remember just thinking like, or maybe just my brother played guitar, honestly, my older brother, and I was like, oh, I could do it better. I'm not really sure, but yeah, because I picked that up pretty quickly here or there. I remember our bass player Andy Bean showing me just how to play like a bar chord, and then I was learning Blink-182 songs. But yeah, so.
And I'm curious, do you got a chance to perform playing drums live?
A few times, never with Flatwoods.
Oh,
Just another. My buddy had this band called Stranger Lockhart. I played a couple shows with them, and then we would play shows. They were like the Midwest Music Pit back in the day in Wentzville. Some stuff in the city too. I think we got down there a little bit. Foo Bar. I played with a band called Mate down there before. Yeah, it's probably at least Baker's dozen or something times
no.
here or there through punk band.
And comparing that experience from what you do now and you used to perform playing drums live, is there a bit of a difference? Do you feel like you more connected with the position that you are now, or is there?
Um, it's a different feel. I mean, everything's kind of,
No.
especially like I said, I guess if I'm kind of trying to head up everything solo now, so everything's pretty well on me. While I was a drummer, it's just like, well, you got to worry about got all your shells, got all your shit, but I guess for a while now, I take it on the role where it's like, okay, well, I got all my stuff, and then whoever else is playing with me, I'm responsible for make sure they have all their stuff too. Which I think that was probably for a long time would have been my brother or something. I'd like to think we spearheaded it, but it probably wasn't. But not till at least I got like my 20s,
Okay.
and then I kind of started
So,
taking on more of a,
and
you know.
just to make sure that we're on the same page, I was just referring to, you being the lead. You're the lead guitarist?
No, well, yes, now I would be,
Mhm.
um,
Okay.
because I'm doing more. There's probably not going to be much lead guitar on it, so the guitar you do here is probably going to be me. But
No.
yeah, usually any kind of like awesome solos you're going to hear, anything is going to be from either Paul Whitty or Joe Neidert, or John Lockhart. But yeah, it ain't going to be from me.
Okay, and you would be the backup?
I would be just a rhythm player or whatever.
Yeah.
I might have a solo, not really with Flatwoods. Yeah, I am much a lead player. I know a couple scales, but I leave that to somebody else. But who knows? Like I said, I'm doing more stuff myself, more and more. So maybe you'll see a guitar solo from me at some point, but hopefully not anytime soon.
Okay. Now I'm curious, talking about from your little bit of experience, shout out to your mom. Sound like she was a big supporter. Uh,
Absolutely.
was she already like a huge fan of music, or did she see something within y'all to invest? Um,
Um, yeah, she is. She's big. She's a big music fan. So is my dad. She loves Rod Stewart. Who else is another one she's big on? Van Morrison, Elton John. But yeah, that's some of my mom's favorites. But yeah, my dad, you'd hear him playing like a Charlie Daniels band or something like Saddle Tramp or Jerry Jeff Walker or something like that. But yeah, I think they were huge on it. My mom, yeah, I think she just kind of wished she would have played an instrument too. It was never too late to learn. I told her, I was like, shit, my buddy taught his dad how to play bass at like 68 or something. I mean, he was like the backup bass player then. Whenever the
who you
bass player
had?
couldn't play it. Not my dad. I'm sorry, my buddy's dad.
No.
But just saying, it's never too late to. He learned when he was 68. But yeah, I think it was kind of her just
Mm,
not playing an instrument, and she knew their dad wished he'd have played. Blah blah blah. So it was just something she wanted to make available for us, whatever, which was cool because she bought me a drum set and Danny a guitar, um, and my older brother, and then yeah, we went from there.
shout out to that. And I'm guessing you showcase your music to your family, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They
Do they have
they.
a particular favorite?
Oh well, I wrote. What was my mom's favorite? Probably either the Caveman or probably yeah the Caveman. I think my dad. I wrote a song for him for his 70th birthday, but it's about to come out in the next couple of months. But it's called No Guts, No Glory. So hopefully that one's his favorite. But yeah,
Shout out to that. Okay. Um, coming through the halfway mark, how we feel?
feeling good, brother. Shit, I did not know it was an hour. I am. You care if I hit up my work real quick?
Oh, no problem. If you want to take a break right here, we can do that.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be awesome. I appreciate it.
All right, bet. No problem.
Okay.